Hi, N.A.R.C.Troopers. I am here on this end of May day here in Austin, Texas, in my backyard. It is like 100 degrees out here. Yeah, 100 degrees. It's really hot. What I want to talk to you today about is time management. As you are maybe sheltering in place, just now starting to get out a little bit with precautions and spacings and distance and hopefully mask and things like that. You're being careful. There's still a lot of things different now that have changed over the past couple of months. And let me tell you, it takes some adjustment. You're already going through something difficult if you're in recovery after abuse from a dysfunctional relationship with a narcissist or psychopath or something. You're already having a very hard time. So now on top of that, you've got the pandemic to deal with. So it's like trauma, pandemic, and then virus pandemic. It's just all over the place. So a couple of things that I'd like to tell you today. You need to keep a routine. I know you hear that, but it's kind of important. For me, I haven't been able to sleep in the past 11 months. I haven't slept like a normal person. I'm working on it. It's really hard. I don't know if it's the neurobiology, sort of like brain chemicals that are still not regulated and haven't gotten back to normal as they need to be. I don't know if it's like the PTSD, the C-PTSD, the work that I'm doing on healing my inner child. I don't know what it is that kind of keeps the internal dialogue going. But yeah, that internal dialogue it's a thing. It's going. So you need to try to get plenty of sleep, and you need to keep a routine, about trying to get to sleep at the same time, wake up at the same time, find some time to work on yourself. You need to eat well. You need to eat healthy. Resist the sugar. I have one indulgence per day. Maybe it's a little piece of chocolate, or it's half of a muffin, or it's like a low-fat ice cream bar or something like that. But I try to limit the sugar as much as I can, limit the processed foods, and try to eat healthy. Pay attention to what you put in your body. And I want to point out something that you may not think about. You're grabbing at all these straws, trying to figure out what's gonna help you the most. And clearly, you need, number one, a support group of people who are there for you. Like they have some kind of virtual support groups now for narcissistic abuse recovery and things like that. You might check a meetup group, or with your church, maybe divorce care. That's a thing also that has sort of virtual meetings and a sort of a church scripture-based recovery group. You need a group. You need some people that you can talk to, even if you're not leaving your house. It's kind of an important thing. You need probably professional guidance, some kind of therapist or counselor, and you need to make sure they are trauma-informed specialists. If they have not worked with people who are coming out of abusive relationships and who are carrying some kind of trauma in their bodies and in their minds with them from those relationships, then they can't help you. You're just going to be talking about it, which has its purpose to help you define destructive patterns and help you identify childhood wounds that could be at play. But once you have got the mental grasp on all of this, once you have figured out, what it is you need to change, then you're going to need to have a professional that's trained specifically in complex trauma recovery and in narcissistic abuse recovery, those kinds of things, because it is a very specific thing. It's like you go to the doctor and you tell them, I've got this pain right here, and the doctor opens you up and just starts taking out all your organs, right? Because they don't know that it's specifically maybe your spleen. Your spleen is the problem, and that's what needs to have intervention. Nothing else. They need to leave all your liver and kidneys and lungs and hearts and all your other organs. Just leave them alone, because they're not the problem. It's that way with therapy. You need to get laser focused, get somebody who knows how to help you, what you're going through, and they are trained and informed on the specifics of recovery from abusive relationships like narcissism and psychopathy. In addition to that, I look at other modalities too, healing modalities like energy work, getting energy cord cuttings, aligning my chakras, checking to make sure my aura is okay, that the energy is flowing, that I don't have blockages, that I don't have something going on with my energy systems. You know, you've got the 7 chakras and everything. I find that meditation, maybe yoga, maybe pranic healing, Reiki, all different kinds of things, acupuncture, sacral cranial massage, all those kind of things are things you might want to check into, because they're that extra added piece that can make a difference. I also want to say it's not just something that you're needing to treat emotionally. Yes, you have logical thinking, you have emotional thinking, and the therapy and the support groups, and a lot of times even the healing modalities are kind of help you with the emotional component. But we need to remember that trauma, especially long-term trauma, if you were in the relationship with your narcissist or psychopath for an extended period of time, maybe it was a parent, maybe it was a sibling, maybe it was a husband or wife, and you were with them for a while, that insidious, under the radar, sugar-coated trauma, I'm going to call it, because sometimes, you know, narcissists and psychopaths don't rant and rave. My husband never raised his voice, never sounded angry, never showed pretty much any emotion, was always just, you know, courteous, polite, almost in a Ted Bundy kind of way. But there wasn't any ruckus happening, you know, no drama happening. And you don't have to have that to have trauma. There are many ways that you have been manipulated, exploited, and betrayed. Many ways that you have been abused and conditioned and imprinted, so that the trauma that you experience is stored in the body. And I would like to invite you to look up somatic, SOMATIC, healing processes, recovery, therapies for the somatic part of this, so that you're not just trying to heal the mind and the heart and the emotions and all of that. You're also working to get rid of the trauma that is stored in your body. And there are ways to do that. And I'm going to make further podcasts and write some articles about that coming up very soon. So be looking for that on my website. Articles about somatic therapy and healings to integrate mind, body, and spirit in the healing process, so that you're not neglecting what is stored in the body, because it's there, guys, it's there, and it comes out and manifests itself in many different ways. So there's a lot of different things you need to be doing during this time where you're very fragile and vulnerable and your feelings are all over the place like crazy. And during this time where we should be careful, you know, look at the numbers of people who are having new cases every day in wherever you live. Look at the number of deaths that are happening every day. And then ask yourself, you know, do you really want to risk doing anything unnecessary with any group of people, like in a restaurant or going to get your pedicure or manicure or whatever? Do you really want to risk not just your health, but the health of other people who need to have some kind of income? They need to have I understand the job thing is horrific. Maybe you have been a casualty in the whole loss of job thing. I understand how eager you are to get back out there and make the money that you need just to eat and pay the rent. But, you know, lives matter. And the governments, the federal governments globally all over the world are going to have to look at this and figure out how they can help, so that we don't have to sacrifice human life just to push people back out there, especially when there's so many people scared to go. There's a lot of vulnerable people, high-risk people who can't go out shopping and out to eat and out to get a waxing, right? They can't afford to do those things, not just financially, but they can't because of the risk. So just putting yourself back in open shop or out there is not the answer. It's going to be a complicated and very long journey back. Let's be patient and let's focus on ourselves. I don't want to get into any political polarization or political divisiveness between different groups of people about, mask or no mask and freedom and what, patriots and all of that. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Because you know what? The kind of abuse that we're trying to recover from happens to all stripes of people, all flavors, all sizes, shapes, colors, whatever. It's universal. And we will figure out this thing about how to get back to work safely. I believe that we will figure out how to save lives. And in the meantime, I just ask you to be cautious. Don't just run out and think, well, I'm compulsively needing to be with people in outdoor settings, outside of my house. The work that you have to do for recovery is in here. It's in here. Yes, you need other people, but you can meet with them virtually. What you need is not happy hour. What you need is not a trip to the movie theater or to the shopping center, to the mall to buy something. What you need is the time to sit and to heal, to sit with yourself, to learn, to practice, to go deep, and to go in there and dig around with that inner child. Go in there and start paying attention to your body, not just the emotional components of this, but pay attention to your body too. It's giving you messages. It's sending you signals. And you have to learn to listen to all parts of yourself. And don't just look to other things and other people to be a distraction to keep you busy so you don't feel the pain. You need to feel the pain. My ex said some brilliant things to me through the years. They were through the lens of his own personality disorder, which was absolutely devastating in the end. But he said, instead of fighting things, that he thought it might be better just to experience them and feel them and let them pass through. And that probably came from a therapist, but it resonated with him and he shared it with me. And at the time, I didn't understand it the way that I do today. You can't run from the pain. You can't run from the loss, from the reality of what has happened to you here. When you are in recovery from narcissistic abuse, you have to accept it. You have to embrace what has happened to you fully and experience it and take the time to just sit with it. Just sit with it and accept it and realize that now is the time for you to be with yourself and to pay attention to yourself and be kind to yourself and do the work. And trust it. Trust that after you've done the work that needs to be done with you, just you, maybe some guidance and support from others, but essentially just you. When you've done it, you'll know, you'll be free. You hear all of these different recovery specialists and life coaches saying that same message. What is within, you manifest without. What is in here, it attracts other things similar to what's going on in here. It attracts that to you. That chaos, that fear of abandonment, that fear, that panic or whatever it is that's in there from childhood. We need to acknowledge that and we need to work on it. So that's my message for today. Get out in nature, take your shoes off, stand in the dirt, get some sun on you and do the work on yourself, mentally, emotionally, psychologically, and with the body, with the trauma of the body that is in there, because I promise you, you're storing it in there and it must be, you have to learn to contain your emotions and then deal with them, face them, and process them. But you have to contain them. Your emotionality can't just be all over the place, crazy, out of control. You've got to contain it, and then once it's in the jar, you open it up, let a little bit out, deal with it. Open it up again, let another little bit out, deal with it. And then do that not just with the emotional thing, but all of it, the whole body. It's the whole body, emotions, mental, logical, rational, spiritual. This is a complete whole person experience, right? And yeah, it's crap. It's hard. It's horrible. But if you want to be better, if you want to stop the pain, if you don't want to repeat the cycle, if you want to be free of this, so that you can find people who are capable of loving you, and so that you can become capable of loving others again, you have to do the work. Okay, so that's it. Stay safe, try to stay home as much as possible, and do the work. Spend this time. This is a gift, being trapped at home so much. It's a gift in that it almost forces us to do the work, to work on ourselves to get where we want to be. Okay, much love. Bye-bye.